And welcome back after I don't know how long break, because life shit. We got some more spicy stories that your nan will love.
Specifically your nan, Eric.
Yeah, Eric. I don't know an Eric.
I hope we have an Eric who watches us, because your nan will love these.
Absolutely. So what have we got today?
Well, before we start, I just want to point out this is technically season 3.
Is it?
Yeah, we did like 6 videos in a row, and then we had 2 months off, and then we joked about how the next video was season 2, and then we didn't do anything for 6 months. so yeah, welcome to season 3 of us reading bad fanfiction.
Hooray!
Plot twist, it's actually going to be our 53rd season.
Oh. Spoilers for a certain game.
Spoilers. We won't say what game we've just spoiled, but
You'll have to find out. Not from us, though.
So what are we reading today, Hezza?
I asked you the same question a moment ago.
But I have clinical depression.
Me too. But anyway, we are reading Riven's Broken Blade, and who is that by, I wonder? Maybe you could zoom in on that author name.
Oh, let me just... I have to pull up the options on here because I am lying down in bed with a laptop. Where is the zoom button? There we go. Oh, it says it was by Penny Whistle and Hezza.
I wonder who those two are.
They sound like a bunch of morons.
Absolutely. Would you like to read the little blurb on me?
Co-written by Hezabel. After a horrific ordeal, Riven quests to find the power to reforge her blade. Riven, Darius, Swain, Destruction Man, Lux, Monte Cristo.
You'll find who Destruction Man is soon.
Suspense, angst.
Wow, this is so popular.
I can't remember which one of us was Riven last time we read this.
I don't either, but I'll do it.
Sure.
What is broken can be reforged. Riven sighed, the words she'd spoken to Lieutenant General Darius over their troops' lack of discipline resounding painfully now. The dashing young General Darius laughed. Ha!
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Both of us doing it for emphasis is fine, but you can do it.
Do you want to be Darius? Do you just want to be every character?
I thought I was reading half, but it's fine.
No.
You can be Swain, I guess.
Go for it, you can be Darius too.
My destination is clear. I have my orders. Swain nodded down at him from an overlooking balcony as Darius buried his axe in the table, pinning Riven to the table by his cloak. I just remembered. Riven journeyed across the lands of Runeterra, searching for a purpose and something to make her whole again. To be whole in holes again. No looking back. So long have I wandered. How should I proceed? What conflict awaits? She muttered as she walked through the gates of Demacia. Her hackles were raised when she spotted Destruction Man guarding the way. The noble warrior eyeing the crowd vigilantly. You could be Destruction Man.
What are you doing here? And what is that you are hiding in your pocket?
Destruction Man stated. Riven blushed. Her broken blade, an eternal embarrassment. Nothing, sir. I'm just a simple maiden. She started to cry softly, the pain still raw.
I can take you somewhere if you want to cry in private, with a capital P.
Destruction Man suggested. Riven grimaced. This isn't how an exile is meant to go. How is she to know an enemy? No, not an enemy anymore, but a general guarding the gates of Demacia? Soon she'd be caught and tortured. She panicked and ran.
What is Swain's voice again? It's been a while.
Old.
You know what to do, Darius. This is not his voice at all, but we're going.
It is now. It's canon. Swain beckoned. Darius laughed in glee. Ha! With overwhelming force, I will conquer you. Riven squeaked in fear, but with 2 A's. He was pinned to the table by an axe. He squirmed. we made a typo there. But she couldn't break free.
We did. What are you doing, Darius?
Sweetest. Destruction Man ran after the fleeing woman, his perseverance allowing him to easily catch the fleeing woman. Ripping off her cloak, he growled when he identified Riven and prepared to deliver Demacian justice. He pulled her to the side and took her to a side room. "What are you going to do to me?" Riven squeaked.
There is a reason they call me Destruction Man.
He said in a sultry tone. He pinned Riven up against the wall and began violently kissing her. Riven couldn't help but kiss back. He started undressing her rapidly, with Riven returning the favor. 10 minutes later, they began the act of making babies.
That is the best line we've ever written.
It is. And then followed by this.
Fear not, I am coming.
Destruction Man yelled. Riven sobbed harder, hating herself for enjoying this. Was this how Darius felt when he abused her? Her anguish confused the now hastily redressing Destruction Man, who was absent in his duties, but fuck it, only the prince or king could reprimand him, and he was sleeping with both.
What world building?
I know, right?
How was that?
Destruction Man asked while buttoning up his shirt. It was amazing. Riven couldn't tell the difference between pleasure and pain. She couldn't tell what she was feeling with her heart racing. With Riven apprehended, Darius proceeded to rend the armor from his body, but leaving his oversized gauntlet. Darius liked the look of it. Roughly forcing him to the desk, and Darius kicked open his legs, unsheathing his blade.
Yes.
Swain muttered, his hands full of wood. He clung to his walking stick like a dog with a bone.
I must take you back into the city, as I abandoned my post.
Destruction Man stated. Is there anywhere I could go? Riven asked.
You could try the College of Magic.
He stated. He walked over and tenderly kissed Riven on the forehead. Destruction Man was gentle, even though he destroyed Riven into submission not long before. She nodded glumly before limping away towards the university. Spots of blood patching her trousers. Oh my god. Why are we like this? What could possibly be at the college? And had Destruction Man not noticed who she was, she'd almost killed him once upon a time.
You were what, like 20 when we wrote this?
I wasn't. You probably were. If it was like 10 years ago, I would have been 19.
Yeah, I'd have been 22, I think. At least we still find it funny.
The only people who probably do. She opened the huge wooden doors of the university. Students bustled around the halls with their coattails flowing behind them. A professor walked up to her. He resembled a hitman. He had a cold, steely stare, shaved head, and black leather gloves. You can be Monte Cristo.
I don't remember what his voice sounded like.
Do it like Hitman, I guess.
Are you looking for someone, young lady?
He asked. I don't know, Riven whimpered.
I am Professor Monte Cristo, head professor of this college.
He beckoned a nearby girl, bouncy and short with lovely blonde hair.
This is my star pupil, Lux. Maybe you know her brother?
Riven blushed again. Another Demacian she plotted against.
Mayhaps Lux can help you find your way. Toodle pip.
Oh god. You should probably do Lux because it would be more comical you doing it.
Oh god. I am Lux. How may I help you?
She laughed. Riven's jaw dropped at the incessant laughter. I don't know why I'm here. Maybe to escape my past, Riven shyly stated. Lux bounced around her and dragged her to an empty classroom.
You can tell me all about it here,
she squeaked. Soon his clothes were off entirely. Darius laughed his grating laugh. Ha! While divesting himself of remaining weaponry. Swain grunted primarily above them. I think this is Swain talking.
Oh.
Now you can see what the Noxian guillotine was truly made for. Witness
I think this was meant to be Darius, but oh well.
Witness true strength from the pimp hand of Noxus.
Lux smiled above Riven, who was sat on the floor.
What you thinking about?
She asked cheerfully. Thinking about my past.
Why don't you tell me all about it?
Lux asked while getting closer and closer to Riven's face. Riven began shaking from fear and anticipation. Could someone ever be gentle with her? Maybe this little harlot could be the one. Riven shook her head, crying again, since her blade was broken. Riven shook in fear as Darius undressed and got closer to him. He inserted his man axe into his tender ass and thrust it back and forth. Swain laughed maniacally as Darius began to assert his authority over Riven. Riven cried and couldn't understand why this was happening. This madness that was surrounding him. He was feeling bruised and more broken with every thrust since he was still not done. Lux stroked the poor woman's hair before snuggling into her lap.
Shh, I'm here until you're ready to charge your laser.
Riven felt something, a power within, stirred once again. She unsheathed her broken blade. Staring at his rune-etched face, Lux stared at the blade.
My, was that what you were hiding from me?
She asked as she leaned over Riven's body. I am hiding many things from everyone. I am an enigma, a blank state. I am the average passerby on the street, Riven stated cryptically.
I love someone filled with mystery.
Lux whispered into Riven's ear. Rolling Riven over, he filled his hands with flesh, ripping the axe out of the table, glowing with power. You'll remember this crippling strike forever! Darius yelled, his blade tearing skin and meat from him. Beatrice, Swain's raven, cleared into the mess. Lux giggled as Riven tensed up due to her breath on her ear. She pulled in closer and started to undress Riven. She ran her nails along Riven's collarbone, giving her chills up and down her spine. Lux laughed as she ripped off Riven's corset. What are you doing? Stop! Riven cried. Lux ran her fingers down to Riven's waist and along the band of her underwear.
Just relax.
Lux whispered as she pulled down Riven's underwear. The power in Riven flared. She'd found the one. Her blade was reforged. Riven stood, bundling Lux to the floor. No longer a woman, Riven and his mighty rune-etched Donga were reunited once more. What is broken can be reforged, Riven murmured to himself before running and impaling Lux on his 4-foot table leg of a penis, her screaming in pleasure despite the tip poking out of her mouth. Finn.
Such a bad story.
I know, right? It is exactly as we wrote it. Suspense and angst.
The spelling mistake we found being that we called Riven a she, and the bit where they're meant to still have a penis. It was also right next to the bit where we put Fia. So
Yeah.
did we ever get any reviews for this? I know we did for the got one. 3.
We got
apparently.
3 reviews,
Were they from?
but I
Belgium?
can't see them.
Dr. Rainbow Cheese said, "This story changed my life." Anonymous said, "Oh my god, a masterpiece." And then my favourite, "Your story sucks." OMG, who is Destruction Man, Garen? Also, Darius does Noxia guillotine, not Demacia justice, you fucking moron, and the story sucks. Making babies, what the fuck, you fucking idiot. Just say they're fucking sex and Riven is fucking best champ. Darius got fucking rape her. Darius is fucking noob champ, you fucking noob, you fucking dumb idiot. And what the fuck is Lux in fucking Noxus, OMG, you fucking noob.
Well, your story sucks. If you actually read it, I'm pretty sure we described who is who and where things were.
Yeah, no, they were definitely in Demacia. They went through the gates of it. I just like that we got under someone's skin that much.
I know, right?
So I'm going to give our fanfiction 69 out of 420. Best story ever written.
Please. Now, what do we have now?
So, so something with a very similar title: Broken Blade, Broken Mind. Do you want to read the the little blurb?
Yes, 1 second. I'm just removing the ads from my screen. Broken Blade, Broken Mind by Ninja Kirby 7. During a match, Riven is attacked by Nocturne and Malzahar, which causes her to revisit the trauma of her Fury company's demise at the hands of Singed.
Singed.
Rated Fiction T, English, Hurt, Comfort, Friendship, Irelia, Karma, Ari, Riven. Chapters 3, words 2413, reviews 1, faves 10, follows 9.
I'd like to point
Published in 2015, July 20th.
I'd like to point out we got more reviews, so we have the better story.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, did anyone actually favourite our story?
I don't know, but we got more reviews.
Oh, one
so
person
that
did. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Right. Shall I be the narrator for this one?
Yes.
Chapter 1. Riven opened her eyes to the picturesque scenery of the Ionian countryside. The rustle of trees and the chirping of birds brought her a serenity that was previously unknown to her. Riven could inhale the crisp... Just imagining her eating what's-its now. Sorry. Crisp, fresh air while she laid on the floor, watching the pale blue sky, feeling the warm sunshine caress her face. Suddenly, the sunshine no longer warmed and caressed her face. Instead, it sought to burn her, melt it, char it. Her eyes snapped open, only to find the lush green grass was replaced by the green glow of toxic chemicals. The refreshing air filled with smoke and gases which burned her lungs. The songs of the flying birds replaced by the screams of men and women. But what about the non-binary folks? No, the people's screams came from herself and herself alone, for she cried in pain, staring at the barren wasteland littered with the deformed and twisted corpses of her entire company. I have no idea who's reading this next
It's supposed to be.
You're gonna read it, and it's going to be set.
Riven, are you alright? Riven, can you hear me? Set wasn't even around at this time when it's published.
Oh no. Riven, can you hear me?
Yeah.
A wild panic overtook her as her door burst open. When Aurelia opened the door, she saw that Riven was sitting with her knees tucked up to her chest and rocking ever so slightly. The will of the blades went to place her hand on Riven's shoulders, and was slightly startled when Riven flinched, knocking her hand away and watched her with wide eyes, which would not have looked out of place on a kitten, except for the panic that filled them.
It's me, Irelia. Relax.
She cooed while slowly moving closer to the exile's tense body, as she tried again to put her hand on Riven's shoulder. Again she flinched, but allowed Aurelia to place her hand on her shoulder and pull her into a hug, and start stroking her head.
Don't worry, Riven. You're safe. No one is going to hurt you.
Riven buried her head in Aurelia's chest and began to shake uncontrollably.
I've just read, the next little bit to do with this bit, and I'm slightly confused how I'm supposed to do Ari's voice in a slightly creepy way.
It's slightly sleepy, not creepy.
Oh, I read creepy.
I mean, she is.
I can't read.
She is like a rape fox. She is slightly creepy.
Everyone okay in there?
Came the worried and slightly creepy voice of Ari, her ears twitching as she poked her head around the door.
Go get Soraka or Karma or someone that can heal. Quick!
Karma can only heal herself, actually.
True.
Replied Aurelia as Riven continued to bury herself into Aurelia's chest. Ari's spirit rushed off to find someone and left them alone. as she heard the noise of returning feet. Sorry, I got excited.
Okay.
Aurelia looked down and realized with an amused look that Riven had fallen asleep in her lap. She managed to remove herself from under Riven and laid her softly on the bed, just in time to see Ari and Soraka rush round the corner. I'm imagining that sounds like horses' hooves on tarmac when Soraka rushes.
Yeah.
Soraka hurriedly cast her diagnostic charms on Riven before casting her healing spells. I should probably do a voice, shouldn't I? What does Soraka sound
Soraka.
like?
Very soft and slow.
Mike Wazowski. So
Yeah,
what,
she could be Mike Wazowski.
can I ask what happened to make Ari rush into my room in the middle of the night?
Oh, yes, the slug woman at the desk, isn't it? Yeah.
Soraka asked Aurelia, taking out a clipboard to take notes.
I'm just trying to... Is this Aurelia?
I think so. Or Ari. I don't know.
Well, I woke up hearing Riven's screams and rushed over. I saw her hugging her knees into her chest, and she appeared to be shaking. She was covered in cold sweat and couldn't seem to hear me. When I tried to touch her, the first time she flinched and smacked me away. The way she looked at me was like she expected me to hurt her as well. Although I think she quickly recognized me and let me pull her into a tight hug. From there, she cried herself to sleep in my chest, and that's when you guys arrived.
She concluded. That's the best kind of dialogue, where a character just says exactly what's already happened.
Yeah.
It matches what my diagnostic charms told me as well. It showed a lot of activity in the instinctive part of the brain. The part that reacts to danger quickly, as well as high levels of feelings of joy and nostalgia, and then pain and finally fear. Sorry, this voice was a bad choice. The best way to solve this issue would probably be to ask Riven what her nightmare was about. Elsewise, there isn't much we can do.
She finished as they got up to leave.
I want you to bring Riven to the infirmary tomorrow so we can talk about this and what triggered it.
I'll be there for Riven's sake.
Aurelia replied as she shut the door with a click. How many chapters are there? Oh, there's only 3.
3.
Yeah.
I am really proud of you of keeping with the Soraka voice.
Mike Wazowski.
It's perfect.
Chapter 2. Riven blinked rapidly as the world, or more precisely, her room, blurred into view. She dragged herself over to the sink and nearly fell over when she looked at herself in the mirror. Her hair was messy, her eyes were puffy, and her cheeks were tear-stained. She blushed as the memories of last night came rushing back to her.
What happened last night? Did she get Destruction Man again?
Oh God! Wait, did Riven have any talking? I'd fuck it. I'm gonna do it. Oh God! I cried in front of Aurelia and Ari like a 5-year-old running to their parents' room because they had a bad nightmare. They must think I'm so weak that I can't protect myself, that I'm just a scared little girl who is pretending to be a warrior. She thought, her Noxian heritage showing through. She dejectedly got dressed and headed for the bar/canteen. It's very early to be drinking. Summoners, champions, and visitors alike were eating, drinking, and chatting to each other, except of course poor Amumu, who was sitting at the bar by himself, holding what appeared to be a glass of apple juice, crying of course.
I'd sit with you, Amumu.
And he'd hurt you, and then you'd leave him.
Nah.
When he cries, it does damage.
I'm got a lot of magic resist.
Morgana was with Pantheon behind the counter, kneading dough. Yeah, Baker Pantheon and like
Baker Morgana. Sinful Succulents.
yeah.
Morgana.
Oh, I love that detail.
Yeah.
Twisted Fate was flirting with every female summoner by showing them all the cool tricks he could do with his pack of cards. He's canonically,
Except he's gay now.
He's canonically gay, yep. Although at the time I don't think he was. So.
Yeah. Graves just rocked his world.
Did you know that Yorick is also gay?
Because he digs graves.
Yeah.
Aha, you've told this joke so many times.
Do you like my zillion puns? Oh fuck, I've ruined that joke already. Do you like my lead
Haha.
puns? I've got zillions of them.
Haha, so funny.
Draven also appeared to be trying to hit on girls, although he made a stupid choice to hit on Katarina. And I watched as her quick temper got the better of her and she stabbed one of her daggers into the chair he was sitting on, right between his thighs, causing him to squeak and jump back in panic while scowling at those around him who were laughing at his expense. Vi, who was watching Caitlin absent-mindedly eat a cupcake while glaring at Jinx. Ziggs and Tristana, who called themselves the fun-loving trio, or as everyone else called them, the crazy fuckers who liked blowing shit up.
Two of them, not three.
I know. While they seemed to be miming an explosion, and she wasn't the only one watching someone who was watching someone else. What the fuck is that line? Rumble was
I don't know.
Rumble was glaring at Timo, who was watching Tristana out the corner of his eye, while discussing the pros and cons of certain poisons with Cassiopeia. It was so obvious why he was glaring at Timo. Everyone knew he had a crush on Tristana. Seriously, he named his mech after her, for God's sake. Did he?
Tristy.
Oh, I never made that connection. Well,
Thought
everyone
was-
except
no.
for Tristana, Timo, the champions who are locked up, cough, Nocturne, cough, and the crazies like Lulu and Vigar, who, speaking of the devil, was trying to eat his food by himself, but not succeeding much as Lulu and her fairy seemed to be trying to steal his hat. In the middle of the room, Olaf and Tryndamere were having an arm wrestling competition while being cheered on by Ash and Sejuani, respectively, and a huge crowd. Meanwhile, in the corner, Cho'Gath, Cogmore, and Kha'Zix were making no effort to silence their ravenous eating habits, and were being watched by those near them with disgust and fear. And of course, English, who was at the bar serving up the latest batch of his brew.
Raggy eyes.
I grabbed a tray of food and a cup of coffee and headed to a table with Nami, Sona, Lux, and Leona. Hey guys.
Drum.
No, make a guitar noise, go.
Bring.
Or I suppose a harp
Morning,
noise.
Ribbon.
Morning, Riven. She needs to sound like a bricklayer from East London.
Oh, morning, Ribbon.
Oh, who was
I don't
the
know
other
who.
one? Is he the...
There was Nami, Sona, Lux, and Leona, but I don't know which is which. Apart from Sona.
Hey, Riven, why did you wake up so late? Aurelia and Ari were here looking for you. Looking for me? Why? Don't they think I'm weak? Oh,
I
this
think
is
this is
Nami.
Lux again.
No.
Oh, it's Nami. Don't know. Soraka was with them. Maybe look for them at the infirmary between matches or something.
Yeah, I should probably check my matches for today. See you guys later. Things were not going well for the exile up in top lane. She was against Malzahar, the self-proclaimed prophet of the void.
I want to state, as a Malzahar main, Riven wins this lane after like level 4, because Malzahar can't do shit once his spell shield's broken.
Yep, there's no way of getting her off him.
Yep.
She had already had 2 gank attempts against her by the enemy jungler Nocturne, while her team's jungler, Sion, hadn't been top once. Jungle Sion was never a thing, right?
No.
It wasn't hard to figure out why, for he was a Noxian after all. Well, at least he was at least. The first time she had managed to get away relatively unscathed, but her summoner had been forced to use her flash the second time. She barely noticed that Malzahar was letting the minion wave push up when her summoner yelled out to her, Okay, you need to do a big bad Lee voice.
What he sounds like.
It's been so long.
Look out! Nocturne just passed the tri-brush and he just hit level 6. He's got his ult.
Darkness! This could not get any worse, or so I thought. Author's note. Edited both chapters to include line breaks. Don't know why they didn't work before. You have time to write a review, please. Tell me what you'd like or dislike about it. Thanks.
You got the matchup for Malzahar and Riven wrong.
North Korea 7.
One more chapter.
Chapter 3. I'm not ashamed to say that I ran, or tried to, and that was when Malzahar used what the summoners call his ultimate ability, his nether grasp, which held me in place while Nocturne flew over with his own ultimate. Are they like stands? God, JoJo reference so bad that you don't even comment on it. Oh no.
I did? Didn't you hear me? I said possibly.
No, I didn't pick up.
Oh. The fuck?
I've not actually watched JoJo either.
You need to.
Apparently Stone Ocean's really good. I don't know much about the rest.
You need to watch all of it in order.
I mean, probably.
If you skip to just Stone Ocean, I'll be really angry at you.
Nah, I wouldn't do that to myself.
Good.
Then they disappeared, and I was once again surrounded by the smell of burning acid eating away at flesh, and the screams of friends and enemies, Noxians and Ionians alike. I watched in horror as I relived the worst moments of my life for the second time in one day, but this time I was among them.
Among Us.
Among Us. This time I didn't manage to escape. This time I fainted. Even as I lay unconscious, my summoner was yelling that something was wrong to stop the match.
Stop the match!
We need to chrono break it. I think there's been a bug.
What do you mean we can't chrono break it?
We need everyone vote /remake.
Oh, but he just died.
Oh, I was actually given the wrong type of ladder.
Oh no.
I groaned as I opened my eyes. Why the fuck did the infirmary have to be so white? I mean, everything being so white is a problem, so...
Yeah. Why you gotta be white?
You can't just Axar someone why they're white, Hezza.
Why you gotta be white?
Why are all the baby hands white, Carl? That it was blinding. As I looked around, I saw a certain nine-tailed fox asleep on the nearby chair. How does she sit down with all those tails?
I don't know. I see you're awake.
This was Shen, apparently.
Wait, what?
If you read a couple of heads. Yeah. A demonstration of superior judgment. I see you're awake. I only know one person with a voice that monotonous. Hey Shen, do you know what happened? How'd I end up here? I asked as I pulled myself into a sitting position. Apparently that was enough to wake Ari as I heard a relieved... Before I found my vision obscured by a certain fox girl as she jumped onto the infirmary bed and hugged me, in a way that if someone walked by, they could have mistaken us for lovers. What, did she, like, hug Riven's face with her legs or something? Or...
Tits? I don't know.
Is this still Shen? You were what the summoners call feared by Nocturne, which seems to affect certain champions more than others. She needs to buy tenacity boots, that's what the problem is.
Oh, silly summoner not telling her to buy that.
Oh, we figured it. She doesn't need therapy.
She's tenacity.
Yourself, Vigar Jarvan, and you were also hit with Malzahar's malefic visions, which as far as we could tell, combined to overload you with visions which I can only guess about. Shen replied as I managed to force Ari off me, ignoring both Ari's interruption and my face, which had gone the same colour as my eyes. What, brown or... I don't know what
Brown, alright.
Doesn't he ever blink? It's unnerving. Add the fact that he doesn't even act like a person most of the time. How can Akali fancy him? He's a nice enough guy, but he's just so cold and indifferent all the time. Maybe he's different behind closed bedroom doors? I wonder.
It's like Akali and I have the same taste in men.
Surgeon Shen, of course.
Yeah.
I need to give you one last checkup before I let you go. You have a meeting with the Karma. I'll have Kenan show you the way. They jogged after Kenan in an attempt to keep up with the hyper-energetic Yordle, but they were thoroughly out of breath by the time they arrived at the meeting room. Riven opened the door. The room inside was pretty plain, just a window on the opposite side, 2 couches and a coffee table. Oh, this is one of those, like casting couch porns, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So Karma's the porn director, that's why they are the Karma.
The Karma. Sitting on one of the couches, clipboard in hand, was Soraka and Karma, while sitting on the other couch was Aurelia. Is this an intervention?
Oh no. It might be.
They turned from their conversation as they heard the door open.
Riven, how are you feeling?
No, you need to sound way more Indian than that.
Riven, how are you feeling?
Perfect. Asked Karma. Like utter shite.
I'm not trying to be racist, I'm trying to stay true to the character.
Yeah.
I'm just not very good at Indian accents.
I also only ever play Karma with the traditional skin, so I have no idea what her voice is like now.
Yeah. Who's asking this? I think this is Soraka.
This comment made Soraka break out into giggles as she sat down next to Aurelia.
Riven, we need to ask you a few questions about what happened this morning and last night.
Soraka said after she stopped giggling, turning into serious nurse mode as she took out a pen and held it ready to take notes.
Have you had these nightmares before today?
I can only see the slug woman from Monsters Inc.
Now just imagine her with hooves running after someone to heal them.
Yeah.
Riven, we can't help you if you don't tell us.
I don't need your help. I'm fine.
If you don't tell us, we'll have to get a summoner to confirm for us, and that wouldn't be nice for anyone.
She flinched and hissed in reply. You wouldn't dare. You have no right to view my memories.
Riven, calm down and sit down, please.
Said the calm voice of the Karma. She looked down and indeed realized she had stood up in anger and sat back down next to Aurelia.
We aren't asking such personal questions without a reason, Riven. It's because if they started when we think they did, based on what your summoner in the last match saw from the link just before you passed out, after what singed,
Soraka said, scowling at his name,
did to your company in the Akana Valley, it's very likely you're suffering from a form of post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD.
This is Aurelia.
That's why I'm here.
Said Aurelia, talking for the first time since she entered the room.
Many soldiers who fought in the war, and just in general, often suffer from PTSD. As one of the people cleaning up Ikana Valley, I was horrified by what happened. I can't imagine what it would have been like to have been part of it. I'm rather impressed you managed to come out of such a horrendous situation with only nightmares and still so strong.
Isn't Aurelia like 40?
No, she's like 30 something.
Oh, fair enough. Riven looked down at her feet as she blushed at being complimented by someone as strong as Ionia's captain of the guard, the person in charge of defending the Placidium and the country in general.
Thanks.
So who's asking this? I hate how she doesn't label who's talking.
I'm gonna have to assume it's Karma.
So Riven, will you let us help us overcome your PTSD?
Fine, but no one else can know of this, least of all the Noxians.
Okay, we need to decide which Noxian this is, because this is the end of the writing and there's no way we're ever going to find out.
It's Twain himself.
The figure dropped down from the rafters. So it's probably either Katarina or Talon for serious answer, right?
Yeah.
But
Hang on. Oh.
I want to imagine it's Cassiopeia just falling off the roof.
Okay, I got this. So, the little bunny has PTSD.
These nuts.
Oh, got it!
Just imagining like a 2-ton snake lady just slamming into the floor.
Just the. How did the others not notice? Also, I think our story's better.
I think our story's better, although this one.
At least we clearly labelled who was talking.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that wound me up the most.
I want to find just like a random League and something crossover, and then. How do you do crossovers? Oh, here we go with this button. I'm not actually streaming my screen.
I'm going to grab my open bars. For.
Are you still there, Hezza?
Yes, I'm just getting my open bars.
Did you ever read the Aragon books?
One of them.
The Legend of Inheritance. The Voidborn are plotting to invade Runeterra and all of the other known worlds, and it's up to Aragon, Roran, and the champions of the League to stop them.
Oh my god.
It's about an hour. I might
How
say
long is this?
1,500 words.
Oh, that's not bad.
No,
That's different.
I was gonna say we can. Oh, there's 2 Dragon Age ones. You know that.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it's just 17,500 words. Oh god. After a summoning spell goes horribly wrong, Aurelia finds herself in Ferelden. She decides to join the Grey Wardens alongside Jade, Tabris, and Cradon. I'm butchering these names, I imagine.
You should play the Dragon Age series. It's great.
I tried playing the first game. I really didn't enjoy it.
Well, you suck because it's really good.
Probably.
The combat's a bit shite, but let's do the Aragon one because it's like 1,000 words.
Sure. How much do you remember of Aragon?
Not much.
Did you ever see the film?
No.
Oh, it was a fucking travesty, I'll tell you that much. Right. Oh, no. I've just linked your Horus Heresy battle report rather than the fanfiction.
Oh my god.
Custodes versus Sons of Horus.
Mmm.
There you go.
Oh, the text is all bunched together.
Yep.
I'm choking on album. Fuck.
What was that, joking on cock?
I wish, but it's choking on an alpen bar.
Oh. You tried smiling more, you know?
I'll fucking end you. I don't want to read this. It's so bunched together.
I'll do. Chapter 1. It was another crisp day.
Oh.
And the few leaves that still hung on to the frost-covered tree branches was fighting a losing battle. Roran had just taken all the pumpkins in. He was leaned back against a tree and opened his lunch.
All the pumpkins.
He unpacked the bread and the remnants of last night's veal leg that Katrina had baked in the oven for almost a day. Just as he was Roran and Katrina never actually got to build their farm, because, you know, Galbatorix's soldiers actually invaded their hometown and then they had to march across the world in order to fight, and also Roran had to rescue Katrina. There you go, there's the rest of the books that you didn't read.
Thank you.
Just as he was about to dig in on the meat, he heard a noise both metallic and natural at the same time. When he turned around to see what had caused the sound, a man clad in black armour and purple suit stumbled towards him. The stranger explained, "Oh, do you want to be casted in or should I?"
I can do it.
Sure.
I'm just trying to find where we are right now. Alright.
I am Cassidin, the Void Walker. I have come from Runeterra to warn the inhabitants of this world that an invasion is imminent.
Roran came to his senses and said, Universe? Invasion? Voidwalker? Cassidin didn't use the word universe, but never mind. What the hell is this? Some kind of joke? The man/creature called Cassidin replied in its dark and metallic voice.
There exists many worlds that circle around many different stars. I come from a world far from here called Runeterra. In Runeterra, I serve as a champion, a kind of warrior that fights in arenas to settle disputes that would otherwise require war or long and tiresome negotiations. For your questions regarding the Void and alternate universes, I will explain them to you when you have fetched your cousin. He must know of this.
Well, there isn't another speech mark, so I can only assume that this is still Cassidin.
Okay. Roran immediately responded.
There we go. But my cousin left Allegazia 5 years... Oh, this is set afterwards. Okay, that makes sense. But my cousin left Allegazia 5 years ago to find a land across the sea where he could train and raise new riders. Actually, he was giving therapy to all of the souls of the dragons that had been tortured over the Galbatrox's reign. Roran did not get any other response from Cassidin other than saying,
Take my hand.
After a second that seemed to take an eternity, or an eternity that seemed to take a second, Roran arrived on a beach of white sand that on some spots seemed to have been burnt to glass. When Roran turned around, he saw that Cassidin was looking to him like he expected him to do something. When Cassidin saw that he was awake, he said,
Now you got to show me to your cousin. I think he would not appreciate me teleporting into his rider academy uninvited.
Roran scratched his head and, slightly embarrassed, he said, Yeah. Roran got to his feet. When he turned his head, he saw a magnificent building built of marble and stone. Because marble isn't already stone. Large as a castle, and delicate as the elves' finest tree houses. Did my cousin build this in only 5 years? Was the only reaction that came from Roran when he saw the magnificent building in front of him. Roran silently started walking towards the Great Academy, followed by Cassidin hovering slowly over the ground. Birds... just making a lawnmower noise.
Yeah.
Birds chirped in the trees when Cassidin and Roran slowly walked towards the academy, who Roran had thought of was near almost a league... What? Towards the academy who Roran had thought was almost a league away. Okay. Penny Whistle had a stroke when reading this and died.
I'm having a stroke because it's so pushed together. It feels like it's so much longer than it is.
When Roran and Cassidin had walked for about 10 minutes, they came closer to the academy, and Roran exclaimed, For the love of Holy, I don't have words for this. The only thing Cassidin said was,
We need to build additional pylons. I mean, a large castle indeed.
My life for ire.
Yeah.
Roran walked up to a giant gate as tall as 20 men and called out, Aragon, it's me, Roran, I must talk to you. Roran stepped back as the gate began to open, and out stepped a tall man, almost six feet tall, more delicate than any other living man, but at the same time more robust and thicker than any living elf. I do love a thick elf. Oof.
Thick.
The man
I'm a
walked
thick elf.
You do speak Elvish, it's true.
I do, yeah.
Quick, shout something in Finnish.
Perkele! Saatana vittu helvetti! Perse!
Mega pussy.
Megabussi!
The man walked up to Roran and said, What on earth are you doing here, Roran? Roran replied, Aragon, I personally don't have any idea why I'm here. A man called Cassidin appeared in front of me when I was going to have my lunch and told me about an invasion and that he had to speak with you and he thought that you would not take it well if he teleported into your academy uninvited. Commas are for the weak.
Lost where the fuck we are.
Aragon strolled towards Roran and said, I know
I
that
see
you
what-
have this fellow with you. Saphira has been keeping an eye on you ever since you teleported into this island. Saphira's the dragon, if you don't remember.
No.
As to give extra weight to his words, a large sapphire blue dragon swooped from the skies, and in their minds they heard a deep but at the same time feminine voice say,
Aragon's brother, cousin, you smell the same way as before.
When Saphira had stopped talking, Aragon said, You can show yourself, Voidwalker. I also want to discuss this with the High Summoners and some of the other champions. Cassidin appeared in front of Aragon and almost angrily said,
I can't teleport them all here.
Then he realised Aragon was talking about things that people not from Runeterra should know about.
How do you know of this?
He wearily said. Aragon calmly replied, You are not the only ones with the tools to see and travel beyond your own world. Aragon said in the silence that followed, Well, shouldn't we get going to Runeterra? Roran just stared and said, I do not know anything about Voidwalkers or Runeterra or other words, but I do know that I'm going with you on this one, Aragon. No leaving me behind this time. His wife is just like, where the fuck has he gone?
Yeah.
Aragon turned and said, Roran, you can't do this. You have Katrina and Ismira. Oh, did they have a kid, I guess, to take care of? Roran said angrily, there's no speech marks here, but I assume he said, I've got the feeling that the people that are going to invade us isn't gonna let anyone live if they succeed, so why not let me fight for my wife, my child, and my country?
And somewhere else. A different universe.
Aragon was baffled that Roran had come up with such arguments that he did not respond in a few seconds, and when he did, all he said was that, very well, then so be it. Aragon walked back into the castle and urged Cassidin and Roran to follow him inside. This is big. Like, what
This
was
is
that?
painful.
What was that fanfic where it was like, I'm brothers with the dude from Half-Life?
Full life consequences, because it's one of my favorites.
Well, inside, Roran marvelled at all the gates and rooms that seemed to be scaled for giants when he well knew that the reason everything was so large was that the dragons would grow so big that even a castle would have been insufficient for them to reside in. Aragon led them through the giant halls as he spoke about the purposes for every room. And here we have the main learning hall. All the students will have studying books produced via a new technique where you press mirrored letters in metal dipped in ink against the sheets of paper so that you can have study materials available for every student so they don't have to go to the library every time they need to look up something or study the grammatics of the ancient language. I don't have all the time to explain all of the advantages of using this technology,
What for that?
despite the fact that this run-on sentence with no commas seems to have done that already, nor do I have the time to explain how it works in more depth. Now we must
What for that?
now we must get to the transport sphere from my office, he said, and began walking in a faster pace down the main hall, all while Saphira walked behind them, seemingly amused by Aragon's constant babbling. There was not a comma or a full stop anywhere in that sentence.
I know. Oh my god, it hurts me. It hurts.
Roran felt how Saphira tried to enter his mind and he let her through. She told him that Aragon hadn't had much company during these years apart from conversations with the Elginari or her, so his babbling was a normal reaction to finally having someone to speak with after all these years. See, it's not that the author is bad at writing. They're demonstrating how Aragon is babbling.
If I die tonight, it's because of this.
I've lost where we were. In that moment,
Same.
Roran realised how Aragon must have had it in these years while he was eating Katrina's roast veal leg. Aragon had been building this castle using magic. It must have taken a great toll on them both mentally and physically to do nothing but speaking through your mind to the same persons over and over again while dealing with building a castle like this. Holy fuck. It's getting worse.
I know.
Even though he had had the help of his Eldunari, it must have been a tiresome and hard task. As they reached the office, Aragon pushed a stone into the wall and a door opened silently on well-oiled hinges. See, that's, nice world building right there. The hinges are well-oiled. That's a nice little detail. You notice how you've used 2 words to do it instead of 2,000.
Yeah.
As they began the descent down into the darkness below, Aragon muttered something in the ancient language, and almost immediately an aura of white light started emanating from a point somewhere above Aragon's head. Oh, deep breath in. Aragon continued walking down the spiral staircase that led deeper and deeper into the islands inside. While they walked, Aragon told them that they were going to use a modified Tsunare transport sphere. Sure, I've no idea, whatever. That could travel to other worlds as well as to other locations in the same world. When they finally reached the bottom of the staircase, Aragon told Cassidin that he must take the orb while Aragon and Rohan both touched it, turn it, twist the both halves twice, and then think about the Institute of War, since neither Aragon nor Roran had ever seen the Institute. Bop it. Twist it. Fuck it.
I never heard of that one in that game.
You've been playing it wrong. Cassidin took the orb and twisted the both halves twice, all while Aragon and Roran held their hands on the cold metallic sphere. Then Cassidin thought about the Institute of War, and he almost directly tumbled down on his bed in his room in the Institute. He sighed and wondered what the other AP carries in Hall B would say when he appeared with these 2 men from another world. Truly a masterpiece of our time.
Sorry, GG, we got too much. This was shit. All you had to do was use grammar and space out your fucking text and your narrative.
You know how you're meant to, start a new line when someone new starts talking?
Yeah.
Do that.
This was painful.
This was written in 2015, so in the heyday of, pick or ban Cassidin. But
I played Cassidin yesterday and it was awful because I didn't get enough time to skill.
I haven't played Cassidin in a while, but it was God, I miss those times. Cassidin was like a 98% ban rate, and if you didn't first pick Cassidin, if it went through, then you'd lost.
Aurelian Soul's got like a 50% ban rate right now.
I can see why. New Aurelian Soul seems pretty good from the 3 games I played yesterday.
Anyway, my mind just gone dead. Let's play an ARAM.
Well, let's finish this episode, I guess.
I think I need to go and scrub my eyes after reading this.
I think I need my tongue deflated because it's swollen from reading all of that.
Swole.
On that subject, apparently my tongue is really big, says Abby.
Oh yes, Gorgie here got married.
Yeah, I did. I'm officially not gay.
Officially. He's so cute.
We still haven't got our marriage license. Hopefully Florida does send it.
Hopefully. What happens if you've got to do it again?
Yeah, that's...
Another one.
I mean, it would only cost, the flight, right? But... At least it's not like the UK, but it'd be a hassle still. Because we were supposed to be getting married by someone who then realised he'd double booked himself, so he backed out. And then another lady called Michelle said that she was going to do it, and then she had really bad MS symptoms, so she couldn't.
Oh.
So her husband, who was apparently qualified to do it, married us instead. And we gave our marriage certificate to him, and I assume he took it back to the courthouse.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
The moral of the story is don't get married, kids.
Yeah, it's a trap. you know, I've got 17 days of experience, so I should know.
I've not been married once, and I'm still depressed.
Lamau.
Lamau.
Oh, let's read the review for this story.
I already closed it, but let me reopen it.
I've still got it. From Relic of the Foot, but not spelled like F, it's F-U-T.
Foot.
On your Relic of the Future review, yes, did you miss something, chapter? This is a review of a different story. Did you miss something? Chapter 3, Jean is still going to the Vale, but he discovers through Sun that it would be easier to go from Vacuo to Mistral to Vale, but ended up going to Kuroyuri since it's closer to Mistral. Okay, now I've got to find the author. So, Relic of the Future. Is that something that they wrote as well? Nope. Just this one story. Did they favourite it or something?
We will never know.
I'm trying to know. One of the stories they favorited is called Seals Are Easy, People Are Hard. I know.
In what context?
Well, it's about Naruto, so I assume it's ninja seals. However, I'm imagining it as like the animals.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's end it there. I'm gonna
Bye.
just kill myself.
Yes.